There they are. What up, guys? Hope you guys are having a good night. Um, I am heading home from work. Thank you, God. You know, I wanted to talk about people that are either lost in addiction now or maybe things that parents or their loved ones that want to know, like, seriously. Like, say, okay, so I used probation for an insurance for myself, but I also used so Vivitrol was like a safety net for me, and it was kind of an insurance too, like an insurance to know that, for myself, that I'm protected. Like probation. Probation's like a adult babysitter program. That's what I think it is. Like, probation is like adult daycare. And so, I get a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, my probation is they're out there to get me. They're out to get me." I've heard that quite a few times. But also, to think about it, like when you're actually doing good and the right things, like they don't worry about you. It's like we're say you're in a bar, okay? Like, because when you're on probation, you're not allowed in a bar. You're not allowed around anybody else that's on probation. Um, let's see. There's also people like say got a felony together because people want to know this. People want to know this stuff like, what happens if this happens? Why do people do this and blah blah blah? Like because I would, I would want to know like why does that drug addict do that? What is up with them stealing all the spoons? What is up with them, the stuff we find? Like, that's the stuff that I want to let people know about, like our reasons behind it and just answering things for people. So, like, when say you commit a crime with somebody and that person is then called a co-defendant. Okay, this co-defendant is who you got in trouble with. So you are no longer, it's like your mom and dad, like, nope, they're a bad kid. Time out. Like, you're not playing with them anymore. So that's like, that's what the law does. So you're not allowed to, so you're not allowed to hang out with bad kids. If they are on probation, you're not allowed to hang out with them. So there's another, like, not hanging out with people on probation. And so like people would be still at bars, and they'd be on probation and they would get mad because their probation officer would come do a check at the bar and, see what all people were on probation that were there, and like, or maybe they have to drug test them and they think just because every time they go in they get drug tested. Well, maybe it's because every time you go in you're dirty. Like, it's hilarious when you hear some of the stories that you hear in jail and the reasons behind whatnot. Like, and I'm only laughing because I was right there. Like, I was right there trying, like, put the wool over my probation officer's face. And, I was trying, like, the stuff that we do to be able to pass a drug test. Like, God. Like, we get to the point where we're carrying around people's urines and, like, traveling shampoo bottles or pill bottles. That's crazy. I've seen so much as, people buying piss off of other people, maybe other drug addicts that have had their kids pee for them. I've seen that a lot too. I don't know. That's just where we don't care to go because we don't want to go to jail and we don't want to get in trouble. So we will do whatever we have to get out of it, and that's one reason I kind of get upset with treatment centers because treatment centers usually take the people that are in jail over somebody that is bringing themselves to treatment. Okay. And I'm so tired. My eyes are on fire. My contacts are like, bleh, bleh. Anyway. So, Shit, was I talking? Um, my God, Jay, what am I talking about? Dang it, this happens to me too often, dude. Um, buying pee to see okay, treatment. Okay, yeah. So sorry, that took forever, squirrel. So, they take people that are in jail over people that bring themselves there that are wanting to help, that decide that like they need to change now. Like, and that bothers me because we would do anything at as much as possible to get out of going to jail. So if they give somebody, you have the decision to go to treatment or do 90 days, you know? What the hell? What one do you seriously think that they're going to pick? You know, at least at treatment, you can make phone calls and free phone calls. Sometimes you get your phone, you know, you get to be around people and like do something good, but still be out, you know? And that's just crazy to me because they're there because they have to. And some of them really get saved, you know? Who's to say they don't? But also, what about that person that is really trying, that it took everything they had in them to call this place, to try to get in this place, and they didn't have any beds because the beds that they had ready or the beds that they had available were the ones that jail people didn't take, you know, or that were open or whatever, you know, you get what I'm saying? Like, and that sucks. Like, I feel like it'd totally be opposite because of that situation. Like, shit. So, you know, the thing, one of the things that really bothers me that I did, and this makes me sound like a piece of shit, but it happens. Um, so in our minds, we're thinking, oh, if we go see our PO and we have our kids with us, they're not going to take us to jail, right? So, like, in our minds, we're like, oh, you know, and like they haven't seen this before. Like they haven't, you know, like and nobody else has took their kids in there and peed dirty, right? So I had to go to my PO and I took my kids with me. And the way I got to my PO was my sugar daddy. I've never really talked about this out loud. I mean, I have, but like, I haven't really been too open about it because it makes me feel like a piece of shit. So, because anything could have happened. So, I took my kids, and my sugar daddy had to give me a ride. Okay. So, and this is why I swear, like, if you know somebody that's into drugs, let somebody freaking take care of your kids because they do not deserve this shit, especially when anything could have happened. So I had him take me to my PO's office, and my kids sat in the truck with this guy, right? And they didn't know this guy from Adam, you know. He was an old, you know, perv pretty much, but you know, I was like his prostitute, you know. So like I took my kids with me. Okay. And they didn't know him, and it was so uncomfortable for them, and it was just something that they shouldn't have never had to be in. And I failed my drug test. And I think a little bit in me was hoping like that I would have passed because I think I tried for a couple days to stay off of it, hoping that I would pass, but I think it caught me off guard and I didn't think, or maybe I did, I don't know, I can't remember. Um, so like it didn't matter that they were there with me, and it didn't matter that a stranger had them in his truck. Uh, they still arrested me. I was bawling. You know, I was allowed to call him and say, "Hey, will you bring the kids in? I'm good." Or no, I don't even know. No, I don't even think they got to see me because I didn't want them to see me in handcuffs. And so I was like, "Hey, listen, they're taking me to jail, and like I don't even know what you're gonna do with my kids. I'm gonna have to try to get a hold of my mom or something." So somehow, thank God that this guy, you know, was a good-hearted person and not a sick bastard, you know. But the guy somehow got a hold of my mom. So like he was a Facebook friend. So I think he somehow got a hold of my mom on Facebook and like was able to get a hold of her and meet her, and they were able to exchange my children. Um, but before all that happened, they had to sit out there with this guy for like an hour, hour and a half before they would even let me, or before they even really told me that I was going to jail. So like my kids had to sit out there with this strange guy for an hour, hour and a half in his truck. And I guess they were crying. Kinley was crying. Kinley was sad. And to this day, she remembers that. Like it really like traumatized her in a way. Like she didn't know where her mom went. She didn't know why. She didn't know why she was in this car with this man. And it breaks my heart to pieces when I can remember shit like that I did, that anything could have happened. He could have been a perv. He could have took those kids. He could have traumatized them for the rest of their lives. And that was because of me. And so if you do, like if you know somebody that freaking has kids and they are using drugs and you know it, and you know it's just getting worse, and you know, like, even I don't care if they have them, they take them with them anywhere they go. They will take them to places to shoot up. They will take them to trap houses. They will take them with them to meet the drug dealer. Like they will, even if they have to stay out in the car while they go in, they will do that. I went as far as me and my friend had our kids. They sat in the back seat, and we put a freaking a coat between our freaking seats so we could shoot up in the front seat. Like that's how sad it is that a kid is going to be around that, and especially nowadays from people dying. You know, I can't do that, man. From people dying, like it is so sad, and they're dying in front of their children, you know. And so do that, do their kids a favor and let them be able to have somewhat of a normal life, because I couldn't ask for better people to be taking care of my children. And I haven't talked or seen them in 4 years, but they get a life without my struggle. And that's all I could ask for. That's all I could ask for, is that somebody's given them a life that I could never give them. You know, they go on vacations a couple times a month. They are in a private school. They play every sport, and couldn't ask for anything. And here I'm struggling, and I don't even think I would be able to do it if I was sober and I had them, you know, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot. You don't do 3-6 months in treatment and you go home and you get your life back and you get your kids back and everything goes clear, you know, goes good from there on out. That's not how it works whatsoever. And you're the one changing, you know, and that's another thing that you learn in treatment. You're the one changing, and you're the one, you know, trying to do for the better, but everything at your house is still the same. It's still the same. It's still, you know, your places that you used to hide dope, your spots you used to hit, you know, like for me, I had blood splatters on the freaking ceiling, because when you're pushing the air out of a needle, you know, so like that shit's still there, dude, and it's hard. And so if you really think that you go to 3 or 6 months worth of treatment and you are cured or healed and you can get your kids back, I can promise you, you gotta be one hell of a person to be able to get through it and get your whole life back. And if you do, I give it to you. Hell yes, you know, do your thing. But seriously, if somebody has your kids and they are taking care of them, do yourself a favor and find who you are, why that's happening. You know, worry about you. Yes, they say drug addiction is a selfish program. It is, because when we were lost, it was all about the drug. Now we have to make it all about us. And if you don't find your purpose, if you don't find, something that is going to make you grow, some kind, everybody's different. So you got to find the thing that works for you. And you do it so many times, you go to treatment so many different times, you're going to learn what you need to learn later in the future. Don't take it like, oh my God, I've been to rehab 5 times, and I'm just not going to get it. I'm not. And that's not true. Like, we go back for a reason, and we go out for a reason, and we come back, and life, everything's for a reason. But maybe it's because you got to go back to learn that something that you didn't learn last time that's going to save you. Or maybe it's so you can go out and share everything that you've been with and through, and you're going to help somebody else get through the shit that they're going through, And that's how I got to see it. That's how I got to, like, I go through all this pain and this hell on a daily basis so I can make sure that other kids that were like mine don't have to feel that with an old man and not knowing who they are. If I was sober, if I was doing good, they would have never been put in that situation, and I wasn't. So, like, until you get your brain level, until you can get your shit together, get a place, be stable, then maybe slowly, gradually get them. But do not think that because you go to treatment for 3, 30, 60, 90, even a year, don't bring your kids right back into it. I don't care if you don't work and you get this apartment that your parents paid for. That's happened to me. Like my parents had paid for places, and I went and lived, and I was sober, and I had a house, and I just fell. Yeah, for a little bit I got it, and I acted like I was doing good. Oh, well, I have a new place, and I'm sober, and I got the kids' rooms, but it was not, in here was not helped. In here was not helped. In here was not fixed. So that first sad thing, or me and my boyfriend split up, or anything, anything sad, depressing, fighting, scared, whatever. Emotions is what always takes us back. Whether we're happy and excited and celebrating something, and we need to get high because we think that's what our body needs, or we're going through something and we need that because we can't get through that without it. And that's where depression meds and psychiatrists and doctors come into play. Because if you're not on depression medicine and your mind is going like this constantly, and you're at this treatment place trying to get your head right, trying to suck in all this information so you can, get this shit right finally. But it's just, you're just putting that band-aid over it, because nothing in here is getting fixed. You're learning this stuff, but you're not going to know how to put it to work when you get home. And I had that problem too. Like, I got all these tools and shit, but then I got home and I was just like, now, what do I do with them? It wasn't the fact that I had to get my mind right. So when something did happen, something bad or whatever, I knew, like, okay, I got to take this in. I really do. I have to I have to play the tape through. That helps. Playing the tape through is something that we are not good at, and we've never done. So that kind of helps. But seriously, it helps you talk to people. It helps you be able to deal with things and think things in a grown-up way. So, but I'm going to get off here. I've been talking to you for 20 minutes. I'm so sorry. But God bless you all. Thank you all for watching, and God bless those people that are still out there sick and suffering, and the ones that are lost and just don't think they'll ever get out. Because I was that person. I never thought that I would get out. And here I am, living. And I died so many times on purpose. I overdosed when I didn't want to. And I'm still here, and I'm still fighting, and my kids are happy. but not with me, you know? So it's hard. It's not easy, but you can do it.